Gabby Jesus to Arsenal. Links have been going on for a bit, and transfer rumor has kind of gathered more steam. Transfer value of about 50 million. Spurs also in the hunt. Does the move make sense though?
Ah, I, where am I on this? I am not sure about him. I know he's a Premier League proven forward, but his numbers don't really make sense. And if you are to spend for a striker, why not spend on someone who's more proficient, more prolific in terms of numbers? And maybe I'm just biased by statistics, but that's where I stand right now. I am not really sure how he fits in, but he's played with Pep. I mean, so Pep, yes, Arteta, yeah, yeah, younger version of Pep, so to say. But that's the only positive that I see here. I struggle to find more.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a Premier League proven striker. He wants to play as a striker, which in Pep system he's not had the opportunity to play. And not to mention, I mean, it's hard to judge Jesus based on his performances in Manchester City because there's just so much more talent around him. So it's hard for him to really stand out. He's had a fabulous end to the season, so that's definitely a positive. And I get your point. He seems like a very similar profile to the players we already have. Seems very similar to like Saka or Martinelli. Probably more clinical in front of goal, which is something Arsenal definitely need, but not really the aerial threat that we may like to add into the squad. Not necessarily even offers the kind of physicality that Lacazette offered in the attack, so it doesn't fit in those senses. I like this move because he's still an upgrade in many ways to what we have right now. The price is where I might not be able to kind of work with it because you throw another 20 or 30 mil in there because his asking price is I think 50. He's probably on pretty decent wages at Man City as well. So maybe you
Higher,
throw,
higher.
yeah, so maybe you throw another 20, 30 mil on top of the 50 and we might be able to get a really good striker and we can make up for the extra money in terms of wages to an extent and who offers a little bit more variety to the squad. Like we said, Darwin Nunez, definitely a good shout. Rumors seem to have died out right now. All the interest seems to have kind of mellowed from the looks of it. So it might be the best opportunity to try and get somebody like him through the door if possible. So yeah, it's a good call. I'm kind of I wasn't. I was more on the yes. Gabby Jesus is a fabulous signing, but I'm kind of leaning more with you now. The more and more we get closer. I mean, with Burnley having been relegated, maybe go down for someone like Weghorst. He should. I mean, we should be able to get him in for like 10, 15 mil even.
Could
Yeah,
have been
I'm
a
pretty sure.
stopgap. It could have been a
No, I mean
stopgap, but
as a way to put in depth because if you're getting someone like Gabby Jesus, I feel like we need to invest in another player more in the profile of Weghorst to just add another dimension to the team.
uh,
He wasn't awful at Burnley, wasn't great at Burnley. Don't quite know if he's Premier League quality yet, but he's the kind of profile that I like. You know, I had high expectations of him coming in, and he wasn't bad, but I mean, it's a Premier League. Everybody
but you
takes a while
know
to get in.
that's the right segue that we want because now we dive into rumored Nketiah renewal. 100K a week more or less with a 5 million sign-on bonus which splits over 5 years. He's 22 years old right now, so even if he doesn't really do well or bomb, we can still sell him off at a later stage. So definitely worth considering the renewal. And if the rumors are to be believed, that's the most recent final offer put forward by Arsenal. Let's see if he signs, and if he does, then we have our backup striker probably figured out, and we need to go all out on getting the right number nine.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? I also like the Nketiah deal. As long as, because he wanted first team action, and I guess at this point in time, if he looks around, he knows first team action anywhere is pretty much a downgrade because he won't start at any club the caliber of Arsenal in the Premier League. I mean, even if you go all the way down to maybe club 8 or 9 or 10 on the Premier League chart, he probably doesn't start for those teams. So this is probably a smart move for him. Good move for us because it takes some of that pressure off to go out and buy two attacking players. So I'm pretty on board with that. And get him had a fabulous end to the season. Hopefully that keeps him motivated and he kind of gets that form into next season as well. Also, El Neny signing the renewal, good
Yep.
deal on that. Good squad player. He's on with the project. Arteta has said that he would like to keep him. So all in all, good. And yeah, let's talk about the next player. The last player we're going to talk about is Yuri Tielemans, rumored to be a deal in the region of 25 million pounds. He might be a little bit more sizable on the wages, but what do you think about this one? Quite likely a Granit Xhaka replacement from the looks of from the player profile at least.
Uh, I think it's a good enough deal. He has been scoring goals. He was in the goal scoring charts for Leicester for a while. This was probably his best season, I believe so. Or was it the last one? I'm not
Yeah, I
really
think this
certain.
was his most productive season for Leicester.
Yeah. So there are contributions. There is a player in there. Uh, Defensive aspect seems to be weak, but again, we are not looking at a Partey type player. We either want to get a proper defensive midfielder or a central midfielder in the attacking mode. So I think this sounds fair. This is again a fair deal. If it's 20 to 25 million, then I think it makes a lot of sense for us to go because of the Premier League experience.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he's only 26, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, still fairly young. So,
Yeah,
and like you said, Premier League experience has been getting better and better with every passing season. And it really helps that Leicester had as poor a season as they did. So, because it seems like they really have no hope of holding on to him for that one season, even. And it probably doesn't make sense for Leicester to hold on to him at this point as well, and doesn't make sense for him to stay on at Leicester if this
correct.
is the kind of trajectory that the club is going at. And I mean, I love him as as a midfielder, great profile player. Like you said, not the best in terms of defensive work on the field, but again, Leicester. A part of that is also because Leicester have a player like Ndidi whose sole job is that kind of mop up duty. I feel like Tillemans can do some of that defense job to an extent, but it will come down to some robust coaching on Mikel Arteta and his team's part. But I love this deal. I mean, for me, Gabby Jesus with the Nketiah renewal is a pretty close yes, and Yuri Tielemans is a definite yes. I mean, we need depth in that position anyway. I would love it if Granit Xhaka stays. I'd be surprised, or rather, I'd be interested in seeing if Xhaka would accept that sort of squad rotation option as part of the club. But I would still love for him to stay and add a little bit more depth into that midfield. But Tielemans to start alongside Partey makes incredibly good sense to me. How about you?
To start, again, I'm not sure. To start, I don't think I would put Tielemans over Xhaka. And that being said, Partey is going to be injured for half the season, more or less, because that's been the case in the past 1.5 or 2 seasons that he's played for us. So, okay.
Yeah, that
I'm also looking at rumors linking us with Ruben Neves. And if it comes down to Neves versus Tielemans, I am slightly biased towards Ruben Neves than Tielemans. No.
yeah, I guess for whatever reason, Neves just doesn't stand out to me. Uh, the main reason why not is because he seems to have just plateaued over the last couple of seasons. We expected him to really take his game to the next level, like Declan Rice has this season for West Ham. But Neves has kind of stagnated over the past couple of seasons. We really haven't seen him stand out quite as much. He's reduced his shooting for Wolves as well. Even this season was an average season for him at best. So that's what kind of keeps me away from wanting to pick him over Tielemans. Tielemans has shown that he has quality, even part of a very important part of a Belgium team as well. So he definitely has more pedigree in my books when you compare him to someone like Ruben Neves. So yeah, that's where I stand on that. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Who do you like? Do you like Gabby Jesus? Do you like the contract renewals? And what do you think about Yuri Tielemans to Arsenal? And yeah, let us know down in the comments below, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.